So it's 1 o'clock. Good afternoon and welcome to today's coffee lecture on fair data. My name is Emmanuel Meyer from the Infozentrum Chemie, Biologie, Pharmazie at ETH Zurich. This is a graph showing the annual size of the global data sphere, how much data is around or produced per year. And in 2025, it's estimated to be 175 zettabyte, so nearly the double of the value in 2022. That's an enormous number. So 1 zettabyte or 1 billion terabytes. And so how to handle this data, this amount of data, and how can computer help humans to analyze, find data? And for that, um, people have thought about what is good data management, and a consortium of scientists have formally introduced a new concept, a principle in 2016, published in this paper. So this was a consortium of scientists, publishers, funders, governmental agencies, and infrastructure experts, and they started to discuss about good data management and described 4 foundational principles to guide data producers and publishers. And these 4 foundational principles are called FAIR. This is the acronym which stands for Findable, Accessible, Interoperable, and Reusable. So how can other users find your data? How can other users access them? How can you, how can other users use your data and combine with their data and reuse them? So fair data is part of good research data management, RDM. It's part of a data management plan which you need to submit if you want to apply for a grant from the SNF, for example. Um, Data need storage infrastructure, so that's part of research data management. You need data security and also ELN. So fair data is part of the research data management. It's not the same as open data. That's another concept. For example, as a scientist, you're free to upload on a personal web page a screenshot of your results, but this will be open but not fair. This will not follow the FAIR principle. People will not find the data and will not be able to reuse it. Ideally, fair data should become open, and this is called then ORD, open research data. But often fair data may come with constraints, legal constraints, technicals, or copyright constraints. So let's go into detail. First, guidelines exist now since 2022 at the ETH Zurich on research data management, and FAIR principles play their prominent role. And recently, a few weeks ago, the ETH Zurich launched the FAIR Coalition to further implement the FAIR principles and accelerate their usage in research. As I said, fair data principles are adopted by a growing number of research funding organizations, for example, the SNF, but also Horizon, NIH, and many more. So if we look at the details of the FAIR guiding principle, each concept, so findable, accessible, and so on, is further detailed, and we will not go into the individual points. I just highlighted in blue an important concept, the concept of metadata, which is the data about the data, and we will have some examples afterward. So, for example, under the concept findable, F1, the F1 rule states that metadata and data are assigned a globally unique and persistent identifier. So, for example, a DOI number. Under A1, metadata are retrievable by the identifier using a standardized communication protocol. And this would be, for example, a web page, so the HTTPS protocol, or for example, the file transfer protocol, the FTP. And so on. So you have a list of guidelines, and I think it's maybe if you want to learn more, you can go to this web page from this network of Go Fair, a network of people and institutions who would like to implement and further popularize these principles. So there, all these guidelines are very well explained. We will do a more practical example. So, for example, if you finish your thesis or you publish a paper, you should upload the data to a digital repository. For example, at the ETH, we have the ETH Research Collection, but there are also a very popular repository like the re3data.org or the Zenodo. Then you will get a persistent identifier like a DOI number. You should link it with the ORCID. This is your personal identifier as a researcher. Um, and then, according to the FAIR principle, you should provide metadata. So data about the data, assign keywords, which puts the data into context. You should use consistent vocabulary. For example, a cell has different meaning in biology and electrochemistry. Humans see the context very rapidly, but computers not. So that's why it's important to use this consistent vocabulary. Um, Using the FAIR principles, you should indicate if the data is freely usable or if you need a license to use it, and you should provide basic information about the data like the sources, the model, which instrument have you used, the data and the contributors. And finally, it's important to use open file and not proprietary files so open file would be PDF A or TIFF, text files, CSV files. And as an example of a proprietary and non-recommended file, I would say, for example, the PowerPoint file is not fair. It does not follow the FAIR principle. Um, Now I'd like to make one example from synthetic organic chemistry. Um, Organic chemistry, some journals encourage submission of fair data, for example, the Journal of Organic Chemistry and Organic Letters. And I found this example from Professor Vaser from the EPFL. And when you go down and look at the supporting information and the associated content, you have a statement on data availability, and you find a link to the raw data for NMR, MS, and IR. And this, if you follow the link, it's located at the Zenodo homepage or database. And if you click on it, you see that this um, data, this raw data, have a DOI number assigned, and you find also a lot of metadata, which makes this data more understandable. So this is an example from synthetic organic chemistry. There's one example in medicinal chemistry. Just this is a recent paper from February. And if you click on supporting information in the Journal of Medicinal Chemistry, you see the traditional PDF with copies of NMR spectra or synthetic details. And also you see a CSV file, which can be read by an Excel, by Excel or by Data Warrior. And when you click on this file, you see that there is a smile a column with smiles, which can be then transformed into chemical structures and associated biological data. And this is very useful. You don't have to type everything and draw the structures. So this is an example of fair data usage. So what are the benefits of the FAIR principles? Well, as you can see, your research data can be found by other scientists, for example, spectroscopic measurements, and also your results are easier to verify and reproduce. If you have a raw NMR data, you can quickly check does it make sense or not. You can reuse existing data sets instead of generating everything yourself, typing the data into an Excel sheet or drawing the molecule. And you can combine other data sets with your own data sets. And because there's a lot of metadata, uh, machine can use also these data sets. It's interesting to know that data sets can be cited independently of the article, so your data can receive recognition and citations. I've listed here a few resources, and you can find them on the link I will provide on the next slide. It's also on the link of this presentation in Zoom. So if you want to know about the FAIR principle, go to gofair.org. The ETH Zurich, the library of ETH Zurich provides also a lot of information on research data management. There is a wiki on it. And also a lot of support is provided by the IT service of the ETH. If you're not so sure, is your data already fair or not, you can do this self-assessment tool. You can also follow the guidelines from the Swiss National Science Foundation if to make your data fair to apply for a grant. There are courses, workshops, summer schools, and I've listed here just three papers. The original paper on FAIR from 2016, a review from Angewandte on the minimum information standards, and the paper which gives you information on this global data sphere. So to summarize, recently the ETH Zurich aims to accelerate the implementation of FAIR principle for digital research assets. For you, it means that you need to plan your data management early to ensure quality, efficiency, and also long-term usability. There are common practices which support your workflow, make your data easy for you to reuse later. So it does not create only value for you, but also for the research community and society. So with that, I point to the link where you will find the coffee lecture card and also the resources, all these citations. And tomorrow, actually, we will have the next coffee lecture on Mercury, a software for 3D structure visualization for small molecules. So thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions, either in the audience or online?